And I even managed to unmute myself almost in time. So let's talk a little bit. Now that it appears to be live and there's some people here, and we still have about 10 minutes, 8 minutes to start. It's probably as good a moment as any to kind of unwind and talk to chat a little bit, because I don't expect to be able to do much talking once the action starts. 3+2 is going to be a very tricky time control for 960. It's a lot better than no increment, obviously, for an old guy like me. But still going to be tough. I will have to check. I probably should have asked somebody. Because often you have to think about the first move in 960. 3+2 is practically correspondence. You're not wrong, but yeah, there's still going to be issues, and it's kind of important to figure out early enough to, just how much time I will have to think on move one. 10 out of 10 is in terms of quality human, or what you mean? 10 out of 10 is good though. I will take 10 out of 10. 13 out of 10 would recommend. So yeah, I mean, 960 often poses a lot of questions from the start. So there is an interesting interaction between. Is this better? That's probably better. Hang on a second. This is now. We have 6 minutes to troubleshoot. Let's troubleshoot. Hang on. Play, create a game, play with computer. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks horrible. Hang on a second. I suddenly realized that I made a horrible mistake, as they say in Arrested Development. So I will now attempt to correct it in real time. Nope. That's sort of better, if not by very much. Yeah, at least we have all the pieces. That should be an important adjustment to have made. I knew there was something wrong with the fact that my original overlay didn't look exactly right. Will we see your clock? Well, hopefully. Let's do that again. There are no clocks in this. Yeah, but the clock should be. We can sort of preemptively make myself smaller and then readjust if and when this becomes a problem. But yeah, the clock should be visible. I think. Today, so far, in terms of chess, has been a bit of a disaster. So it probably will continue being a disaster, but we'll see. At least this is going to be an enjoyable disaster, and I will have, legitimate way to excuse myself when I blunder things, because, pieces are in the wrong places. How am I supposed to understand that the queen from b1 is already threatening my pawn on h7, and the rook on g8 will be defenseless? So that's the expectation. That never actually happened. Great number 0. Yeah, and that was actually kind of an unsettling spin. Not unsettling, but like, obviously I saw rook h8, rook h7 spin words. And I expected him to, after the king goes to f6, he had a forced mate with knight d5 check, bishop g3 check, and knight c3 mate. And I was very much expecting to get mated with my king on the e4 square. And then after king f6, he played bishop h4. And it kind of threw me for a loop there, because I was not... I wanted to get mated in a different fashion. But we did get the result we were supposed to get there. Two minutes to go. Yeah, and once again, I will probably not be able to pay too much attention to chat once this starts. Thank you, Venus. Because it will require a lot of attention. I don't know how much I will even be able to talk. I will try my best, but the thing about 960 is it really throws you off a deep end very, very early on. Disable challengers. Settings, preferences, challenges. Where is it? Tell me where it is. Game behavior, no. Privacy. Never. Currently never. Never. Thanks. Yep. That helps. Is Connie Vlad playing? I don't actually know. There's currently 5, as you can see, there are 500 plus players registered. My 960 rating is really nothing to write home about. Thank you, something pretentious. So I'm not gonna attempt to. Actually, why not? Yeah, we have Zhigalko was the highest rated, but he's disappeared somewhere. I don't know where. And I actually don't know any, like, apart from Sarin, who I do know. 8, I don't actually know any of these people.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. So yeah, we get this position with 2 bishops in the corner. And yeah, the clocks are visible, which is good. And 17 seconds to play first move is kind of harsh, actually. B2 will be hanging, so let's make sure we don't actually blunder that pawn. That's actually quite well played by my opponent. I should have paid more attention to this idea, the whole a5, well, I don't really like that, though. I think that's maybe is a little bit of an overreaction. I do still have the issue of how I'm planning to castle. Bishop takes d5 is quite strong here. Yeah, I'm not... so far, this is very much in keeping with how I played against David. As in, I'm playing poorly. At least I can get the knight to e6, and it gets smoked out very easily, though. Let's maybe play f3 for now and ask my opponent a question how he wants to deal with this. Probably actually belongs on d3. So we get a kind of a normal-looking endgame, and by normal I mean I'm slightly worse, but it shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. Ah, he's also berserking, which is quite fun. It took me a bit too long to realize that my opponent is berserking here, which is a very relevant piece of information you should be obviously cognizant of. Whoa, completely blundered knight c5. Just completely blundered knight c5. I thought I was safe. I mean, obviously I wanted to play rook c1 previous move, and I did this instead. And now I'm in trouble. Quite a lot of trouble, actually. G5 is probably very annoying. Maybe I can play a7. This, on the other hand, I thought was impossible. So, knight takes b3. Yeah. Now, so far, like, I'm playing somebody who is just playing better than me in every facet of the game so far. Like, I've been outplayed from start to finish. Maybe not from start to finish, but I have been completely outplayed in this game. I'm not actually that much worse, but... Whoa, that would be a mistake. That would be a fairly large mistake, actually, by me. And now I am worse, because I can never take on b3. I need to create a threat of rook takes b3, but I can't actually do that comfortably. And the king runs to c8, and then I'm in trouble. Yeah, I think I was fine at some point, and then I once again kind of relaxed and am now paying the price. That's a very strange choice. Whoa, okay. We're now suddenly winning. This is how I play chess these days. I play horribly and then I get insanely lucky somehow. That's just such a disgusting end to this game. He genuinely just played, for much of the game, he played a lot better than I did. We could go through that game, but I'm afraid it might kind of break the... Yeah, let's not do that, because I assume they will pair me again quite soon. Yeah, and I've seen some familiar names there. So my friend and colleague Maxim Matlakov is playing. There are some other very strong players in there. As I mentioned, Sergei Zhigalko, who is a Lichess legend, and people keep on berserking against him. All right, I mean, okay. Yeah, this is my, like, I'm just today throughout the day, and I blundered knight g5 there. I thought I could just play g6 or g5 or any of those moves, and I just cannot. So we will have to castle queenside now. It's still not that horrible, because that queen on g1 is extremely stupid, but obviously not what we dreamed of. And frankly, the way I've been playing the whole day today, I should not be berserking against anybody. I'm just not playing good chess at all today. I should just concentrate on on good decision making, but it's very difficult. Good decision making is coming very, very hard today. Like, I seem to be incapable of it somehow. Like, this is a fine position, but nothing special. I don't think I'm really with the bishop on b8. I don't think I run. That's actually clever by my opponent. This knight is now threatening to get stuck. We need to get the queens off. Yeah. There are now severe issues with what's going on here. Rook h7, I can maybe play king c6, or maybe even knight take... the pawn on b4 is hanging though. Maybe we're okay. Maybe I overestimated the scope of our problems. I will get flagged though, which is a bit of a pity. Ah, 3+2. I actually lost on time. That was a really, really unedifying end to this game. And the fact that I've lost this position in 3+2 is not a good sign. How did I keep on forgetting it's 3+2. I don't need to play as quickly as I'm trying to play. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, berserking against... I think I should probably warm up a little bit before I start doing that. But against, you know, so far every single person. I mean, the sample size is 2. It's no increment if we berserk, yeah. Yeah, more GMs. Let's not do that anymore. That's an interesting option, b3 with a queen on a1, because obviously we can play g6, but he does have bishop b2 as a reply. It still feels like this probably needs to be done. Let's pretend we're gaining some space here. I think he wants knight g4, which actually does make a lot of sense. I think my... And now if I go knight f6, g4 becomes very strong. It feels like I have actually already put my position in significant jeopardy, which should not be possible by move 4. It's quite striking how horribly I'm treating the openings so far. I mean, we're sort of okay, because my opponent decided, yeah, I think this was stronger on the previous move at some point. But even here, it's quite threatening. Actually, more threatening than I originally supposed. But I think we're fine. I think after g5 we go knight h5. It's interesting that he continues declining that. Maybe he wants to go h5, which is ambitious. I want to have the option of taking on f3 and then playing something like queen a6, which is why I played this move. Also, he's given me the option of playing g5, but I don't know if I like that. This is a weird one. Maybe just start with queen a6 and see what he wants. Because hg, maybe we can even reply with fg and not feel too bad about it. And g5, knight g4, we always have f7, f6 there. So we probably shouldn't be getting mated. And just, yeah, h6 is always a decent idea, in particular, you know, in the current climate with Leela showing us the way. But I don't think I'm necessarily getting mated here. I think I have enough play. And it was very, very important to bring the queen into the game, I think. Now with the queen kind of threatening maybe to go to f4, it feels like I'm in slightly more control. And this I wasn't really scared of at all. I thought I could just do this. Fe, maybe Fe. And yes, I mean, there are issues now with my king side for sure, but my pieces in general are a lot better connected than his are. The only move I'm worried about right now is knight g5, not knight. Knight e5 actually is maybe a bigger problem. That's a good move by my opponent. Queen d5, e4 actually. I thought I could play queen d5 and then d6. It's very difficult for me to actually shift this. A lot more difficult than I originally assumed. Knight e5 is very strong, I missed that. It's still not clear how he's going to make any progress, so I'm now planning to play rook b5 and try to shift that piece from that side, but yeah, we are in trouble if we cannot move the knight away from the e5 square. Quite a lot of trouble, because eventually rook g1, rook g7 will happen, and like we need to have an answer to that, or we're kind of dead. I'm trying to ask him to play d4, which obviously will improve our situation quite a bit, because then the queen can go to d5 and it will not be challenged there. And of course we want to play d6 next move. Maybe I'm not doing so poorly. Maybe I got slightly over scared, because if we do get the knight away from the e5 square, my position I think becomes at the very least very playable. Well, I blundered knight d7. And of course I immediately noticed it the moment I said the words. Yeah, just not playing well at all today. Like genuinely appalled at how poorly I'm playing. I'm now trying to kind of psych him into some kind of indiscretion, because yeah, like I want to play maybe knight d5, knight c3 or something like that, and hope that generates threats. It doesn't actually generate any threats, but we are hoping he will not believe that. Yeah. None of this is great. None of this is great. I think I'm supposed to take, sadly. Knight d5, I think the knight could actually go away. Yeah, I mean, if the knight lands on c3, it will be a bit awkward for him with this really stupid queen on b2. But obviously, we are sort of a full exchange down here, and like against proper play, I don't really expect this to be a savable position, but maybe there is some hope. I'm trying to create like some openings around his king and ask him at least some questions before he mobilizes and just kills me. Yeah, something like this should win. I guess we play a4. Oof. Yeah, that was a large miss. I probably should have played against that. And now we're back to being completely lost, are we? Check, check. I mean, it's a nice cheapo, but I don't think it works. I think we're supposed to play this first and see what he does. But I guess queen g7, hg, and rook a1 is just completely winning. I was one tempo short in the end with my counterplay. The hope is he goes rook a1 here, and then knight e4 check actually does work, but yeah. Nothing in this game gave us any reason to suspect our opponent will miss something like this. Like it would be extremely disrespectful for me to actually, you know, hope for that happening, because yeah, I can't really even claim that I got unlucky in this game. I just got outplayed. Whoa, I could have yeah, I could have gone 95 knight c7 there, which was slightly stronger than not picking up a rook with a fork. I just, like, once again, the flow of this game did not really make me believe that there was something that could happen. Would have been a truly shameful shameful way to win that game. We are actually doing kind of okay. I mean, this is the best position I've had in the game because I have rook a3, rook b3 counterplay, and my king is actually quite safe on d7. Also, my opponent seems to be in some kind of a lag situation. I don't know. I'm actually going to shamelessly play this position for a win now. Yeah, not gonna be able to do it. Yeah, there definitely was a fork, but it's very easy to just get into a mindset of I'm playing against a very strong player who is completely outplaying me, so he is not going to blunder a rook to me in one move. Yeah, probably shouldn't be doing this. Huh. Okay. Probably allowing knight g4 is not the brightest idea in the world, but... And also I probably should have taken on f6, and he keeps on giving me this chance, so I'll maybe take it now. It's a little bit too good. That was a beautiful bishop, but... I mean, this is a little bit too strong for us to continue to say no to. I won a game. Who knew such a thing was possible? Ha! Playing against Max. So a2 will be hanging, so we should probably do some... These positions are actually kind of tricky because normally... It's possible to actually allow the capture on a7, and sometimes it's better to allow it. Yeah, exactly like that, because if I take on a7, he has knight b6, rook a8, and so on. And picking up that pawn often leads to positions you end up not liking at all. So I'm going to pass, I think. Like, this is a very typical thing you get in these types of positions. On the other hand, like, hang on a second, this is a rook. Whoa, what am I doing? Like, I'm so used to the fact that the rook on b8 isn't hanging. This is a full rook. This is a slightly different constellation, because normally, actually, I will try to. Yeah, that's probably a little bit too much to do. Okay, we get a berserk game. Let's go. This is moving a little bit too fast for actual in-game analysis. Is something going to start hanging very soon? I don't see what. So let's develop normally. Well, that's not normally, but you know, as close to normally as it gets in this variant. And yeah, we get a decent position out of the opening. I'm kind of envious of the progress my opponent made on the king side, but I have good things about my position too. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have allowed that. I'm very surprised by GH. GH, I think, was just a mistake there by my opponent. F5 is very questionable as well. Knight takes e4 is stronger than I suspected. Let's ask him what he thinks about the g2 pawn and whether he thinks it's hanging or not. It's actually not hanging, but it's good to kind of bluff your opponents like this occasionally. What? I miss rook h1. This is a kind of a bad miss, actually. I have no comfortable... No, queen g5 is okay. Well, I also missed that. That is more painful, actually, than missing rook h1. But we do have knight takes f2, and we're threatening knight h1 and then rook g1 in the end, which is very relevant. And we also get to connect the knights this way if he doesn't take on c5. Should just play faster. I think this is the trick here. What the? Yeah, I'm gonna lose this game on time, which will upset me quite a bit. Yeah, let's just make a promise to ourselves to never berserk. Yeah, I'm just not fast enough to play 90-second games with no increment. Why no mouse skills? It's as if you've never seen me play Blitz, Owen. It's as if you don't know I have no mouse skills. Yeah, maybe I should actually try to win some games before I start committing honorable seppukus. How are we supposed to develop our pieces now? Like, the most obvious move here would be c4. I think it opens up the most pieces. And sometimes it's surprisingly annoying for black if you go c5. I'm starting to kind of remember the things we, the conclusions we sometimes came to when we were doing the St. Louis tournaments. That quite often when you do this to the knight on a8, the person this is being done to doesn't really enjoy it all that much. I need to be careful not to blunder some kind of knight f4 shenanigans, but as long as that doesn't happen, should be okay. I'm playing... Whoa, okay. Knight e7 was obviously very strong just now. But we did manage to kind of get our pieces out, and he needs to play c6, and then the position is quite fine for him. But yeah, I can understand why he would want to get that bishop on b8 to normal squares, but we might be able to achieve some progress in the meantime as well. Kind of an unclear, I mean, I think I'm better. I think now that, you know, the position stabilized, we're picking up the pawn on a5, and then we'll have an endgame with an extra pawn, so... it's not going to be like an automatic conversion by any means, but it's a nice little position to have, obviously. Rook a8, I think I can take on c7, at least that was my intention. And if I do get to play b3 before, the game becomes... Whoa, okay. Yeah, that was kind of stupid. It's a good thing it didn't cost me very much. Because I honestly, after rook b8, I was planning to play rook a4, and that would have been an actual blunder of a full piece, which would have pained me quite a bit. But now we're back to relative stability. Obviously, the intention here is to go rook takes e7, knight c6 check, and rook takes a8. And it's actually quite difficult for him to defend against this properly. That's an interesting comparison someday. Yeah, you can do that, but... what's the cleanest way to proceed from here? Something like this, I think. Intending to play b5. And yeah, this is like a cute geometrical tactic, because if he takes, it seems like I've lost the rook, but this is a check, so... it doesn't quite work out for him, and the king on b5 is just very strong, connects everything. Now we are free to start doing things like that. I could have played rook takes e7 there as well, but rook f1 is... I kind of like the idea of just giving mate here. Huh. That has been missed. I mean, we're still winning, but I'm annoyed at myself now. There must have been a cleaner way to win this position. We are somehow in the top 20 despite losing 2 games and not streaking or anything. Seems like I'm not the only one who is finding this game a bit difficult. Yeah, I mean, I think Gata has better APM than I do, and also I think not streaming this is significantly simpler than streaming this. In particular, if you actually are... Ah, Josh, yeah, hi Josh. Please don't berserk. Because this game is confusing as is. Quite a lot, and having to try to explain what you're doing and why becomes progressively difficult. Agata is streaming, then you know, I've always been kind of in awe of Gata. I have a feeling I've had this specific setup against Gary in one of the training games, which is kind of funny, because I think people severely underestimate the amount of repetitions in terms of positions you've already seen you get after you've played like 30 games, and I've played more than 30. I had a very funny incident. I played Grishuk in the qualification for the thing that Magnus eventually won against. I mean, the one that finished with a live portion in Norway. And in game 2 of that match, I was in like severe trouble with white by move 5. And then somehow solved it and ended up winning the game eventually somehow. Somewhat undeservedly, but I mean, those things don't really matter. And then I was playing some tournament, I think, maybe on this platform or possibly on chess.com. And I was playing somebody with the white pieces, and only after I barely caught myself not making the exact same mistake somewhere around move 5, only then did I realize that I have seen this position before, and I have already made those horrible moves against Sasha. And I was extremely happy that I managed to catch myself just in time and adjust, and I think I ended up winning that game as well. But yeah, I think people severely underestimate just how many of the... I thought this was impossible, but it actually is possible because he has d4 in the end. I thought this was losing a pawn, but it isn't. And then the question becomes, do I actually need to, dignify this with a response? Maybe I'm supposed to just play knight c6 and go from there. Takes, I go knight d7, he goes d4. That center setup looks very touchy-feely, but I can't find a way to challenge it properly. Maybe we just castle. Ask the question to him. To see like what he wants to do about this structure. I think this endgame is like this bishop on f3 is nice, but my knights are very harmoniously placed and I have good play. I should at least not be worse here. Probably not better, but I shouldn't be worse. Yeah, the question is what do I want to do with the structure in the future? I probably want to play d4, like on general grounds. I'm not threatening anything. This setup is actually very fluid. It's very difficult to push in any direction. I obviously do not want to push for the b5 breaks. But it's solid, like playing d4 and once again kind of asking Josh what he feels the structure should look like is a good enough idea, because it's difficult for him to open the position up as well. I think most top chess players like Fischer and Mieres. I don't know of... I want to say very many, but I think maybe even saying I don't know any who don't might be a reasonable statement. I'm trying to fix the pawn on h4 for some kind of a really distant future eventuality that maybe I can attack it. But the problem is the bishop on e4 covers all of the squares I can attack it in the future. And if he does go for b4, I kind of welcome it, because I could stand worse after that, but maybe in some worlds he opens it up and it also gives me additional options. Like I can see this backfiring. Because the position still remains quite closed. I can put this guy here, bring the king in. It's a lot easier for me to imagine what my next moves are rather than what his next moves are. I still don't actually have any threats, at least not in any kind of immediate future, but I mean, maybe I want to play e5, but I doubt it. I think from a positional standpoint, playing e5 is incorrect. I don't know about this, because he might have to. He might play. Yeah, okay. I'm happy about this at least, because now, like we have a very settled. We have a very settled situation on that flank. Rook b5 is rook b5 is not a threat now. I think I can do this, and then knight d6, And once again, whoa, okay. Did not expect that to happen. That's a very double-edged idea by Josh. Honestly, I think it's wrong. He might not get punished in the end because his position is still very, very difficult to break apart. The bishop on d3 covers most things, and currently I am not sure what I can do about any of this. I mean, f6, e5 maybe. Well, yeah, just missing rook g1 completely is probably not the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, and now I had to trade my knight for that bishop on d3. I have very, very few winning chances in general. Probably none whatsoever if he plays normally. I mean, I do have an outside passer, but it shouldn't really, count for very much. Missed that as well. Now he goes c5, and well, I don't cry, but I'm kind of unhappy about that. Surprised at how restrained his play is here. Like I think it was very possible for him to go a lot more all in on his progress. I'm trying to lose basically. I'm really not playing this for a win. Rook e5 check. But I suspect I'm still not worse, because I think because of the how big the threat of rook h3 check is, I'm probably still fine. But yeah, I think at some point my position looked pretty, but maybe it was never that much. Very unusual pawn structure, kind of difficult to judge what goes where. I think Josh also tried making it as sharp as possible, and he gave me additional chances, but looking at it as it was played, I can't immediately point out a moment where I was sure I was much better. Yeah, maybe, yeah, rook g5 there in the end was strong. Yeah, you're right. You are right. That probably was winning, but of course, like I don't need to go stupid there, breaking the structure apart. I could just kind of hold my shape and not do that at all. How many GMs are participating? Probably admins know. I don't. My guess is quite a few, but I don't have a number. Here at least we get a somewhat non-symmetrical structure straight out of the opening. It's important for me not to blunder some kind of queen f5 stupidity. I guess the way to go about that would be to start with knight d6 just to make sure it never happens. He is trying to play e4 though, which will make me unhappy. Yeah, this is where it gets very tricky, because you never exactly know what you're aiming for in terms of structures straight out of the opening, and I think it's very, very easy to just get completely outplayed, sort of a lot faster than you would imagine. I'm really hoping I'm not blundering something here, because what I'm doing is, yeah, obviously I'm blundering something here. Let's hope this is not the end of the game, but it does look like it might be. So like my concept, I think, was sound to fight for the center there, but Not when you have to play king c7. Yeah, between 100 and 150, I think, is a good guess. As mentioned, chess players in general quite like 960. It gives you, you know, an outlet you don't normally have, and it's extremely welcome. You do get to do fun things. I am sort of one move away from quote-unquote stabilizing by playing queen d8. So I think the outcome of this game, I mean, not the entire outcome, but much of the outcome of this game will be decided on the next couple of moves, because if I survive, I will start looking into the future with slightly more optimism, but we could also just get completely destroyed if I blunder something again. But I think I'm actually surprisingly and undeservedly okay now. Sort of. Not great or anything, but fine. I managed to connect my pieces and get the queen out of the horrible square it was on. Still probably a little bit better for white after something like knight g5 here, but by far the best position I've seen in this game. Yeah, and the king on c7 now makes some sense even. Actually, my worst piece on the board is this knight on g6. Is he intending to take on a7 here? I don't think it works. But if he goes something like a4, I will need to start paying attention to it. If we imagine this knight on c6, I'm actually kind of slightly better, not by very much, but sort of. So that's the dream now. Knight e7. Oh, whoops, that is not how the knight moves, but you get my drift. I mean, this knight needs to be here, but I don't know how to get it there, so it's a bit of an issue for me. I was hoping to do this and then this, but then, like, it's still unclear how I'm ever smoking this rook out. This wasn't a very good sequence by me. Maybe rook d7, knight c6, but I'm actually running significant risks here because there's really no guarantee that he will not be able to do something in the amount of time that I gave him here. Maybe I can go rook f6 though. Takes rook h7 bothers me. Rook f7 check, we can do a number of things, but I'm probably going to go bishop e7 and then if knight c5, that's a strange move. Not that strange, but like not clearly obvious why. There were other options. And now I want to play g5 and start on my knight e7, knight f5 plan. Of course, the bishops never come off. At least not on his conditions. He can play g4. Maybe I shouldn't have allowed g4. g4 is quite smart here. I should be fighting against that. I think this is probably an improvement for me because I'm gaining space, but I'm still not sure how I'm going to win the resulting position. Maybe not even just how, but also will I be winning the resulting position? It's quite unclear. But I mean, time is also on my side very much here, so I mean, no, this still queens, right? I was about to get annoyed, but then I realized 92 still queens. Yeah, bishop plus knight. I mean, I will probably give bishop plus knight mate quite comfortably with increment, but there is no real need for us to demonstrate that. Yep, need to start winning games. The leaders are on a lot of points, like twice the points I have. Kuzubov is up top, as you can see. Andrew Tang is doing quite well. Just automatically playing e4 here is kind of attractive. I probably will do it anyway. I've also considered berserking, but probably not worth it to just take an auto loss against somebody who is a GM. Really don't need to do these things to myself. f4 is a move I can play here because there's queen h4 and queen takes f4 there in the end. Yeah, I think I can. And if normally if you can play f4 in positions like this, it should be quite attractive because you get some space, you get kind of a easier central development and so on. Knight c5 is clever though. I'm sorry, queen c5. I can't even pronounce the piece names correctly today. The endgame is still a little bit better for me, so I'm going to accept the queen trade, but once again sort of on my terms, not on his. Is e5 any good? I mean, I don't need to. It's not horrible, but I don't need to. Maybe we aren't actually all that much better if he just castles kingside here. And I should have calculated some e5 things earlier. Maybe they were a lot more relevant than I originally thought. He keeps on kind of insisting I play e5, and I might eventually take him up on it. I don't know. I don't know what my opponent's belief that this is good for him is based on. Yeah, 98 is reasonable. He wants to go something like f6. So let's try and fight against that somehow. This should be at least a little bit awkward for him, but I don't quite see how, which is annoying me. This is probably not right. I'm hoping he gets spooked by the threat of 96, but 96 is not actually a threat, which I think he realized very quickly. h6 probably was a mistake though, because now h5 knight h6 is almost winning for me. Should have played something like knight d5 instead. Now I'm quite hopeful about my chances in this game. Whoa, that's a concession. Very tempted to just look for some kind of a forced win, but I don't see it, so let's play. Let's play like a sane human being here. We have an extra pawn, we don't need to do anything yet. It's very, very difficult for him to move. Now we are threatening c3 and just capture this rook. Which luckily for us went unnoticed. What's your opinion on chess? Probably a mistake, but nothing to do now. I like the tone of this channel. This seems like a very chill channel. We actually strung two victories together. Wow. That's somebody who decided to berserk against us. I'm not going to respond in kind. I'm not a huge fan of the clown fiesta that ensues when I try to do that. That's kind of clever. I don't think we get mated on the king side very much in these types of positions. I should pay attention, but generally speaking, I don't think we do run into too much trouble. And yeah, now I have kind of clear-cut things to aim for. Kind of want to play d4, but also don't want to play d4. And our opponent still hasn't, you know, completely decided where this king goes. It probably should go kingside, which makes his decision to play queen f8 is a bit unnecessary. I understand your sentiment, Wild Chess, but have you seen me berserk? It's a very, very strange spectacle. There should be mate. I'm very upset that I can't find mate. I've been looking for like 5 seconds already, and the fact that I don't see it annoys me greatly. Because like there's no way this is not mate somehow. I can probably win material, but it truly bugs me that I can't find mate. I guess we'll have to go with the let's win some material. It doesn't even win material. Now I'm even more annoyed. Did I blunder a queen? How poorly can one man play? I mean, by this point it's assuming like truly disgusting proportions. Yeah. I don't know why anybody would want to watch that. Jesus. Like, I keep on... Today is just not been my day. I'm kind of tempted to just resign here. I was completely winning like 3 moves ago, of course, but... Yeah, let's not try to flag somebody on 6 seconds. It just doesn't feel right. Oof. It's a bit of a pity that I'm playing so poorly today. Like, the whole day was... Starting from my match against Navarra was just like one massive yeah, this is probably a family show, so I will not be using the correct terms for what my day has been. But yeah, losing this position is just such a massive oof. Mainly because I was kind of waiting for my opponent to resign. The position was so winning. And this never ends well for me. Yeah, this is very much a tilt berserk. More than anything else. This is me being extremely unhappy with myself and trying to take it out on myself, which is, once again, something that generally doesn't work very well. Why did this knight go to b6 with the bishop on a8 is hard to understand. Like, how am I now supposed to develop this bishop? So many questions. Yeah, okay, I mean, I understand how ugly it looks, but it's not really as if I have any choice whatsoever. And the issue is, I can't really castle kingside because, yeah, my opponent feels sort of very insistent that he needs to give me a game here, because if he put any knight on d4 at any point in the past 5 moves, I would not have had even the option of castling and then not losing to knight e6. I mean, the position is still completely horrible, but I think the game could have been over by this point if my opponent was slightly less graciously disposed towards me. Yeah, I'm still lost. Yeah, I do feel like I'm kind of completely lost, actually, because knight takes d6 is unstoppable. Yeah, just knight c7 and resigns. Grab a beer to untilt. This is looking like a better and better solution with every second, but it feels a little bit unprofessional. And yeah, feels like there's going to be a refund at the end of this evening. At least you get to watch a supposedly strong chess player kind of progressively going more and more on monkey tilt and playing poorer and poorer. Which is some sort of content, but Um, not very enjoyable for me currently. Not every time, no, but most times. Am I worried about bishop h4 checks? I don't think I am. Yeah, actually queen before check I am worried about. d4, queen before check followed by queen takes b2 would be a nice way to lose yet another game in 3 moves. Let's maybe not do that. b5 is what I, or even knight b6 or knight d6, like those moves. I thought I'm actually driving the knight away. And then I think I'm justified and feel reasonably happy about my position. But the fact that he can support that knight actually in more than one way is extremely annoying. Maybe it's not that bad though. Yeah, obviously, in particular for me, I found that if I get a normal position in 960, I don't mean a position that looks, you know, close to what we're used to or anything. I'm very fine playing weird-looking positions, but normal in terms of all of my pieces I developed, and I haven't blundered anything in the first 10-ish moves of the game. I've always found that I'm doing okay then, but I also found in the years that I played the St. Louis tournaments that this is exactly where my game struggles the most. Okay. We can even take on e4 if we're honest with ourselves. I think queen f1 check, king c2 is only one check, but like I'm not very confident in my tactical. Actually, I kind of want to take that pawn. Check, king c2. No, I don't think I need to open more diagonals for him. That seems wrong. He wants to play queen f5. My issue with knight d2 is he plays queen f5, I can take on e4, he takes, he takes with the bishop on d5, and in the end my pawn on g2 is hanging. And that kind of bugs me. It is a piece, but my pieces are a little bit undeveloped, so he still has some compensation. This is a little bit of a, like, this is a little bit too slow, I feel. Because he is down a piece, I think he's supposed to play faster than this. And yeah, this is going in the wrong direction. Bishop takes a7 was definitely possible, but we don't need it. Like I much rather develop pieces first. Bishop a7, I didn't want to allow e3. Specifically in this position, if we take, he has e4, e3, and I didn't want to allow that pawn to get this far. Whereas now, hang on a second, isn't this just mate? It will be very embarrassing if I miss something simple again, but this looks like it's mate, so. I mean, for a given value of mate. It actually isn't mate. But I mean, can't be too bad to get his king to e6 here. But yeah, the fact that I completely missed that the move d6 existed kind of shows what shape I'm in today. If I don't win this position, I will be like extremely pissed off. It will annoy me like beyond all recognition, I think. And probably, yeah, I think king f6 is not the strongest square, but like generally, I think I'm maybe not even better anymore. I think it's extremely possible that I don't win this position now. Like queen f5, queen f2, for instance, is very awkward to meet. I'm just really not a sane human being today. Missed that as well. If instead of bishop b6 I just finish developing my pieces, I think I win very comfortably. It was just such an unnecessary derail. This endgame is actually quite unclear if he goes, let's see, like, for instance, like this. Yeah, king f5 is a good move. I need the bishop to connect with my other pieces, but it's probably not fast enough, actually. Blundered king f5. Like, what am I doing? Like, I just can't play today. I have absolutely no idea how to play chess anymore. Like, none whatsoever. Luckily for me, there was this, like, there was rook g5. The reason it took me so long to play knight e4 check is that I thought it was blundering a piece when it actually wasn't. Which is, once again, like, it shouldn't be taking me this long to understand these things. This is such an oof. Such an unbelievable amount of oof going on here. This is of course a draw, but like from after everything that's gone on in this game, I feel like I should be continuing. Missed queen f3 check as well. We're gonna come kind of close here, but it probably is still a draw, regrettably. No. Now I'm winning, I think. Maybe not. Maybe this still makes a draw. Yeah, okay, let's not continue with this. That is just yeah, the half point isn't worth the time is correct. Like I barely like King H4 was the only move in that position, and I am not even 100% sure I wasn't winning after that, but yeah, bishop takes G5. Like everything that is normally working seems to just be completely switched off today. Like there is nothing functioning in my brain. It's very difficult to play this game when your brain completely refuses to cooperate. I think we're supposed to go for this structure change. It feels attractive, I don't know. Of course missing knight b5 is a bit annoying, but it doesn't end the game. I could have taken on c4. I mean, if he continues insisting, I will take on c4. It's upsetting that the king actually gets to g1 here, but huh, okay. I mean, knight takes h4 looks like it's winning, but then there's queen h3. But actually I have queen f5 there, so let's do it anyway. And, you know, seeing my opponent play gh there, I'm beginning to wonder why I didn't take on h4 5 moves ago. And, yeah, it does feel like I should probably get some apologies in. I don't know what you're watching, honestly. You're watching somebody descend into insanity before your very eyes, and it's probably not very attractive. Yeah, I could have gone knight c2 check. I just genuinely didn't see it. Too early for a poll? No, I think it's we're what, 100 an hour and 15 minutes in. I'm like on +1 maybe. Like it's not that I'm not, you know, chasing the leaders of the pack. I'm barely winning more than I'm losing. Knight g5 will be quite painful if I don't do something about it, because the pawn on h7 will be quite difficult to protect. The whole idea of going b5 and bishop b7 and gaining space on the other side of the board appears to have backfired quite badly. Win rate 50%, yeah. We are break-even players on this stream. Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with the statement that 960 is difficult, but it still is no excuse. I have more sort of hours played in 960 than most people. I should be avoiding at least some of the absolute nonsense I've been doing. I'm kind of really inviting him to go e5, but I don't think it's great, despite some tactical opportunities. For instance, because I have bishop takes f3, and we are one move away from castling kingside. So let's just do that. So we do end up with a kind of a position where, because my opponent decided sort of not to punish me early on, my original plan of gaining some space on the queen side ended up not costing me very much, which is good. I don't think there can be any claim that I'm better or anything, but at some point it really looked to me like I could not get out of the opening again in this game. c4 is a kind of a dramatic choice here. Let's see how he's planning to support it. Now we might actually be a little bit better. We have more space. I think if he pushes f4, it will be more to his detriment than to his advantage. I should probably, yeah, I mean, I was kind of actively encouraging this because I don't think it's great, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe he goes e5 now and it's really not horrible at all for him. He can push d4. My plan is to go knight f8, knight g6, bishop d6, and so on, and it's also kind of important not to allow him a comfortable way to play d3, d4, which I don't actually have the way I placed my pieces, which is annoying. Huh. That is very, very good news for me, obviously. That's a large mistake. Of course, you should try to push d3, d4 as early as possible there in this structure. Like, I'm still maybe not winning as such because it's difficult to make significant progress, but and yeah, his position remains very solid. But yeah, this pin will be quite annoying for him. Our king f2, he has king f2. What am I doing? Oof. Yeah, more oofs incoming. I am missing really straightforward things today. This is a good square, but I mean, I don't know about f5. I'm kind of losing patience here. I think the correct way to play this was not to do this yet, at least. Like, this is a perfectly fine endgame for us, but it's not going to be easy to win. Or maybe impossible to win, even. This is a bit playing with fire, but maybe more than a bit, actually. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that was the move I was very much hoping for. Now we have actual winning chances. That was, you know, the one quote-unquote trap I had after I had in mind when I was playing king f8, but 94 instead was much stronger. And now we have a pawn in a knight endgame, which is obviously, you know, the best we've had this game. Waiting for the although. Yeah, There's going to be a lot of all those today. And general lack of assuredness in whatever it is that I'm saying or doing. Not allowing the king to get to c4 here is, I think, the most important thing. I should have started with king d7. This is a mistake, but it's not going to end up costing me very much, I think, because this is now, I think, a comfortably winning position. Is it? Probably is, right? And now, of course, we go after the knight. We don't win the pawn, the knight. We go king g2, and then we queen the pawn. Go Grishuk, you are the best. Grishuk is indeed the best. Unfortunately for you, you did not get Grishuk today. Coming in at a solid 70th place today. A2 will be hanging, as will be A7, so let's ask our opponent here. And this is a normal setup. This is the setup I was talking about when I was playing against Matlakov, where when you take on A2, the rook on B1 isn't actually hanging, therefore you can, in some cases, sacrifice it for initiative, tempi, and space. This is like a typical motif where you try to develop less, but you try to grab some space with some kind of a pawn advance in the center, and you hope it gets you somewhere. Both GF, e5 and the FGF, G5 kind of make sense to a degree. This one is sharper, so let's go for that. It's very possible to be worse doing that. Like, I'm not at all guaranteed not to have to fight for equality when I do something like this, but on the other hand, if the position stabilizes at some point, it's possible to emerge with a nice advantage. This is not great. He can take, play h6. This is a kind of an outcome where you don't emerge with any kind of an advantage at all. A5 is also sensible, just the idea of A5, A4, A3, but I think we can deal with it. Just do this and then castle and A4, knight C5, A3, B3 appears to be kind of okay-ish. Huh. Did not see that coming, but I don't think I'm very upset. I think we're okay with this outcome, because we have very good central control, and I will be playing rook b4 takes b6, or maybe even rook. I need to make sure I don't blunder queen e3 check, though, if I have like aggressive ideas in mind. Obviously, we don't want to be playing an endgame here. We want the middle game, because in the middle game, for the time being, we're a lot better developed, and safer king and threats of this are quite significant. Okay. And now something like this is a genuine problem we need to be paying serious attention to. We have knight a4 in the end, so I'm not that worried, but it could develop into an issue. This move I don't quite understand. Where is the knight supposed to go now? Ah. That is actually quite clever by our opponent. 95. But not that clever. We actually do break through here and win. I'm not in time to describe things for you, but because I have queen a7 after rook c6, which is what I suspect my opponent missed, he now has to give up quite a lot of material to continue the game. No, of course I haven't played all the starting positions loping t, but I have played, like, it's hard to count. I played the open, like to get into the sort of the world championship, quote unquote world championship cycle when those tournaments were going on in Mainz. Rook d6. Does it change anything? I don't think it does. So I played the open, which was 11 different positions. Then I played Lev, Leko, Almashi, and Lev again. So that's 4 matches, and we were playing, I think, doubles. So that's 4 positions per match. And then I played some St. Louis events and some online events. So I played probably maybe 50 to 60 positions by this point. I seem to have recovered somewhat, and that last game had some semblance of common sense to it. Wild Indian. The positions with the queen in the corner are... This is an interesting opening here, because after g6, my opponent already has to play something like rook c3, which is kind of bizarre. I mean, has to is maybe a little bit strong, but it already creates a problem for him. This is a very interesting constellation. I don't think I've seen this before. He could maybe go, yeah, castles exists, yeah. That explains many things. The fact that castles exist in this position is extremely relevant. I kind of hate playing symmetrically, but we might have to. Because I feel if I don't, I will just be much worse out of the opening here. It's annoying, but I really don't feel like playing a lost position by move 5 again. I don't know why I played d6. I should have played e5. I'm planning to... Yeah, like, why did I allow d4? This actually stands, like, goes against everything I believe about this game. Like, fighting for the center, not allowing, like, this specific thing to happen. All of these things are actually kind of heavily ingrained in how I approach 960. And then I go and do a thing like that. Very difficult to understand what's happening today. Yeah, e5 and then d6 was like semi-playable. This really, really isn't. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible move, but I'm not playing it because I like my position. I'm playing it because I like everything else even less. If I get to play f6, bishop c6, and knight e7, my position will start resembling something. But obviously, yeah, bishop b4 was... I thought I could play f5 in reply. It's just embarrassing. I should have still played f5 in reply, actually. I think this is my only source of counterplay here. f5 followed by e4. Hoping to lock that guy in and play like a slightly freer position than the one I had just a moment ago. We're still obviously in trouble, but this at least gives me a shout, because my yeah, bishop c3 I obviously missed. I still feel like this is the right way for me to go, but at least, like, philosophically, if we can use that lofty term, because this way I create at least some kind of mayhem on the board for my opponent to get confused about. Otherwise he just kind of steamrolls me and the game ends. And if he goes b3, of course we're sacrificing this piece. It's probably incorrect, but it really doesn't matter at all by this point. We need to create imbalances. We need to ask you know, as sharp a question as possible on every move. f3. Do we need to include h6 now is the big question of the day. Feels like it cannot be much wrong to include h6. Actually, I don't know why I'm driving this knight to f4. It's going to have a very nice square on f4 there. It's probably a mistake. But yeah, this is what I meant when I was talking about creating mayhem. Now, like, if the position really... I might be still doing quite poorly, but at the very least my pieces are sort of playing together. I'm creating some counterplay against his king, and he has to solve actual issues every turn. None of those things were true a moment ago. I think I can do this first and go from there. After queen e3 I have like knight d5 ideas, for instance. And bishop b4, knight takes e4 I think is mate. I'm very much hoping it's mate, because if it isn't I will be very upset. We're also surprisingly ahead on the clock, which is really not a normal state of affairs for me. Yeah, I think we have to do this. I missed knight c2, but I think I still win. At least sort of in practical terms, because it will be... It will be very, very difficult for him to make a move in this position on 6 seconds. It also might be impossible to make a good move in this position on 6 seconds, but that's sort of neither here nor there. Is there no mate? Please tell me there is some kind of mate. He has no threats, but I mean, he has queen a8 check. Yeah, I have to pay attention to queen a8 check. I actually blundered mate after rook f7 just there. No idea what I'm doing. kind of shameful, but I have no shame anymore. Uh, but yeah, like we were winning at some point. We were completely lost, and then we were winning. Yeah, I've not been doing well, Naughty, but as mentioned, it's kind of irrelevant. We're climbing, almost in the top 30. Yeah, Rook f7 was actually giving mate there. I told you guys I have to pay attention to Queen a8 check. I even figured out how to pay attention to Queen a8 check, and then I made a different move, is what happened in the previous game, basically. Which is some prime bullshit. Like really, really prime bullshit, which you should not be allowing in your games. This structure change in general is like supposed to favor white a little bit, but probably doesn't. This is a little bit too elaborate, like very simple plan of d5, d4. I wouldn't say wrecks me here, but creates significant issues. Also, what he's doing is quite logical. I will just pretend my previous plans were not what they... Actually, I should probably play d5 now. I was expecting bishop b6 instead. This is suddenly a very nice position for me because he goes probably knight e7 and then I go d6 and break his structure completely apart, and I am suddenly sort of close to winning despite appearances. Yeah, we just need to include the remaining pieces in the game, and we should be completely cruising. This rook on d6 is almost impossible to remove. None of my opponent's pieces even challenge it in any way. We can take on f5 even, like it's a pawn. I don't really see why we wouldn't. It gives me easy access to the e4 square. More than just removing a pawn from f5, it also gives my pieces nice squares. I think sort of that's the more relevant part of why we want that pawn off the board. Yeah, when you look at the game like this and you think maybe you should be berserking even at least occasionally, but then you remember how my berserk games look, and you think, no, don't do that. It's a trap. I'm not kind of winning this in the most efficient way possible, but I'm still sort of very, very much in control here. Not much is happening, simply. I could have tried for a faster end of the game, but it really isn't very necessary. I have actually allowed something I shouldn't have. Knight g8 is not the move. Knight g8 is not the move. Why would you ever allow f6 here? Should have taken on e2 and played knight e5 and tried to put the second one on c6. I was actually kind of doing the the unthinkable and creating some intrigue in the position where really none existed, but my opponent declined the invitation. And now we just win material. Much material. Top 20. If this goes on, I might be... That's probably actual nils, right? We're not berserking against nils. I think after my match against Navarro today, Niels might be particularly salty about yesterday. He must be sitting there thinking, how did I lose to that idiot? What sequence of events could have possibly prompted me to lose to that idiot? And honestly, Niels, I know how you feel, and I honestly don't know how to support you in your hour of need. You should not have lost to that idiot, is all I can say on that topic. Hi, Panama Gambit. We need to keep the pawn, the d3 square unoccupied to at least threaten to shoo this knight away. So I'm playing queen f3 instead of something like knight 1 d3, specifically to continue having that option. Do we want to just go bc here? No, bc he goes f5. And we are what we call in the business unhappy. Blundered knight a3. I'm also going to be unhappy about this. Yeah, okay. But actually, I think I can sort of still continue after rook b2. Maybe I'm not completely lost. Amazingly, maybe I'm not completely lost in that position, because knight a3, I go rook b2, he goes f5, and I go queen a4. And if he captures that exchange, the knight on a3 gets captured. If I want to play for a win, I need to try to assume some kind of central control here and hope it sticks. Yeah, it's become wow, I completely missed this move existed. Now we need to gauge like how big of a blunder it is. I think I'm still sort of okay, because I can go rook f1 next move and then castle, supporting like my entire structure this way. Yeah, the whole, as we say in the business, is just a meme by this point. It's not that we're all like huge fans of... okay. e5, no, I think c4 is the correct way forward. And if he goes knight a3, I can castle. So now we have this really beautiful pawn center. And I think I'm genuinely a little bit better in this endgame. This is a fantastic outcome, considering how unpromising my position seemed at some point. Okay. I think I'm supposed to fight for like every inch of this. But then he goes rook e8. Let's do this first, and then consider our options. Maybe it's not much. f5 was very clever by Nils, getting the f5 move in when it was still reasonably playable. I think he's supposed to play either d5 or d6 here, and he's probably fine. Yeah, I just don't have very much here at all. I thought I did, but I don't. Not what I expected, but actually quite smart by Nils here. Because he can just go rook e7, rook e8, and I don't have a good way of attacking his structure. We might be kind of stuck here with, you know, nobody really creating, you know, any threats. e6 isn't all that weak. Fuzzbuckerist. It looks like it is, but it really isn't. Yeah, Nils sort of true to form is, you know, the first one to attempt something vaguely ambitious, which we don't mind at all, because if, let's say, if he takes, we start having, you know, additional dreams. Yeah, bishop f6 is correct. I'm kind of wondering if I can play d5 here, and I mean, obviously I can, it's a legal move, but is it any good? Is it any good? I don't know what this is, like, it's a non-move, which I probably shouldn't have made. I'm mainly just passing to Nils and asking him to make a decision for me because I'm ahead on the clock, more than anything else. There are some positions in which I might be interested in playing g4, but this is not, at least not yet, one of them. So yeah, this is now a new structure in which, like, he doesn't want anything, but also I don't want anything. Maybe I do want something? E takes d5 I missed. Well, immediate e5 I also missed. This is kind of stupid by me. I thought he was supposed to take on c3 first, which quite clearly he isn't by, you know, by any normal, sane person logic. Yeah. I was kind of hoping rook e6 would scare him, but Nils is really not very easily scared. Bishop takes e7. This gives me kind of renewed hope. Because now his position is actually a little bit... Yeah, I missed knight g4. I keep on missing things I normally wouldn't. I would hope I would normally wouldn't, at least. If I go knight h4, there will be knight f3 bullshit later on. Yeah, that was a bad miss. And now we're sort of back to being a little bit in control, right? Huh, okay. Doing something, like, I somehow managed to slightly untilt. I don't know how. This wasn't a very well played game, but at least it contained, you know, some semblance of. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Hmm. Not really, not never berserk, but I'm I'm not going to do that just yet. I mean, if I hang on a second, blundering bishop b4 would be a bad mistake here. Okay. Bishop g3 is unexpectedly annoying because he wants to play bishop f5 now, and yeah, I don't have a very comfortable way of dealing with it, so let's just castle and go from there. Like, this is not great, obviously, but it's a way to deal with it. We can take, play knight f4, but we're slightly worse there. Maybe not by very much, but we are slightly worse. The issue is we're probably slightly worse whatever we do here, which is kind of annoying. Can I go knight f4 right now? Probably not, but maybe it's a good bluff. Maybe it's a good enough bluff just to play as a kind of a shot across the bows so that my opponent doesn't feel like he's completely bossing the game. I'm worried knight takes d7 just wins by force, but I don't think it does. And if it doesn't, this is clearly the right way to go here, because we achieve quite a lot of progress this way compared to where we were earlier. He should probably at some point play c4. Also, I should at some point play c4. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. And this is a very pleasant endgame. In particular now, because this knight is not coming back. I think it's probably a good policy for me to just make some kind of a first move quickly without, even pretending to get into, the depth of the position. Sometimes, like this time, for instance, it will backfire quite badly, and I will have a slightly worse position out of the opening with white, but like in practical terms, I think this is probably the more... Actually, no. I should have played a 4 there. This is just very poor. This is a lot poorer than I originally thought it was. This queen on g1 is just horrible, and it's much easier for him to get his queen connected to the game than it is for me to get mine into action. I'm kind of tempted to just sacrifice an exchange here. This will look like I blundered the exchange, but I haven't. I'm actually paying this price to... well, that's not a good pre-move, because what if he doesn't do that? I'm paying this price just to connect my pieces and to play a normal position with slightly better development, and now he has a stupid queen on g8 he needs to bring back. Because I really, really disliked what my position looked like before I did that. It's not that I'm in love with this. This is still kind of poor. But this is poor in a different way. And there is, I think, some hope that maybe I can mix it up. I should have played a 5, though. It's a bit stupid I didn't play a 5. I could have played a 5 and only played long castles after he goes knight g5, because now I think he's supposed to play a 5 himself. But yeah, the way I treated the opening in this game is not great. And as I was saying, like when we were playing the St. Louis tournaments, it was kind of remarkable and sort of difficult to understand and extremely annoying, all these things. Yeah, why did I give him this beautiful f5 square, e5 square for the bishop? I'm not entirely sure. It was very obvious that the other pairs, because we would normally split into pairs, and I would analyze the starting position with Gary, and like Lev would be with MVL in a different corner and so on. So he wants to castle and keep the queen on h8. Huh. I did not expect that approach. I'll be entirely honest with you, but it might be fine. It's actually very difficult to punish. Now I'm trying to not allow him to play h5, queen h6, basically. I'm playing some kind of a long game here, hoping to fight against this queen kind of rejoining the action. g6 I should have considered more seriously. Yeah, this somehow wasn't very high on my list of things to worry about, and maybe it shouldn't have been. Yeah, that's clever by him. But yeah, we're trying to bottle it up again. So yeah, back to my pointless story. It very soon became quite obvious that the biggest issue for our pair with Gary was I kind of want to scare him with this, because this is actually a very serious threat now, and we can recapture later when we've sufficiently worried him with knight h6 check. Actually h5, I missed h5. h5, knight h7, knight h6 check, and then knight takes f7 maybe. Maybe it's not bad. It became quite clear that we keep on missing things in the openings, and then if somehow we do end up with a playable position, we would play it, you know, just as well, or maybe even in some cases better than the other guys. But we just kept on not getting a playable position out of the opening at all, and that was kind of annoying. Knight f7 doesn't actually win, which is why I'm taking this moment to take on d4. I'm sort of threatening rook d8, knight f7. Against this move, I think maybe I can take the time to get some more pieces in play, but yeah, this is an issue. Because we obviously cannot allow him to come out of the corner here. And the issue with knight f7 also is that I open the files for his pieces, which is something I kind of badly want not to do. Huh. Mainly, yeah, this is what I was kind of planning on. I was hoping that this is good. I mean, and by like for a given value of good, this is not great or anything, but it gives me a playable setup. Obviously, if this bishop wasn't on a1, we would very much be in clover here, but it is on a1, which is a very large issue. Why did he play rook d5? I really don't understand, but I want to check. I don't want to take yet. I think knight takes h5 is a much more important threat here than everything else. I think we end up winning this game, which is quite remarkable. Here comes the bishop on a1. No, it actually stays on a1 untouched until the end of the game. That was a nice swindle. Actual top 10. I mean, we're not in contention to win anything, but okay, not blundering the b7 pawn here is the first important part of the game. Actually, yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know why I took. My plan was not to take, and then I just took regardless. We're playing some kind of a weird Scandi where, like, this is an idiot, and it's not going to be that easy for us to get it into the game. Yeah, like, the plan in this position was to play either d4 or maybe just ignore it, and then I took somehow automatically. Yeah, this sort of solves the issue of the bishop on g8, at least for the time being. I'm not, very happy about this solution, but it's a solution of some sort. a5 followed by b5. I mean, we're running very, very serious risks here, but could go knight b. No, knight b6, queen a5 is just plain bad. Bishop d5, he takes, goes rook e1. I think I'm actually supposed to do this and hope that it somehow works out, which it normally wouldn't. I think probably queen d6 is the move to make here, making sure we don't blunder anything on e7 and kind of reinforcing the threat of b5, because we want to take on a3 then. Hashtag never Scandi. You're not wrong. Yeah. I kind of conveniently ignored the fact that my c6 pawn will be hanging in that line. Can we actually afford to play rook c8 here? I mean, let's find out. This is very greedy, but I mean, if it works, we will be handsomely rewarded. If we end up not losing any material by doing this, we will be quite happy about this, I think. He still has tremendous compensation for the pawn, of course. My whole structure is kind of in tatters. I would like to play bishop d5, but then he takes and this rook invades, and I think I'm worse, which is annoying. But he's also threatening king b2. My greedy expedition may have backfired, actually, regrettably. I regret to inform you guys that greed probably did not pay in this game. If I play c5, the bishop might never return. Also, I burned like a minute and a half explaining things to you, which will be quite costly in the final analysis, I'm pretty sure. That is very clever. Whoa! Okay. Yeah, the position actually was quite bad, but just playing rook takes c2 there was... the next emote I create for my channel will be Boomer APM of some sort. And just like that, we've destroyed a very good streak and no longer top 10. But yeah, the position was already quite bad. I think my opponent played that game well. I obviously did not have to do some of the more ambitious things I did in that game, but I think no blame attaches. I think he played well. This, I think, was one of the concepts about like opening development which we felt was the most true, that trying to gain space, and I don't know why, like after the speech, I probably should have done something else with this. In particular after the speech. I should have played something like, something that was fighting against the idea of f5. I don't know what this a5 move is about though. This feels strange to me. This is a kind of a nice knight on e5 we have going. It's currently not really achieving very much, but it's nice to look at. It gives me hope. The plan probably is to go something like rook d3 and castle long, and then start thinking about how we make progress. Yeah, this move exists. But I don't think I'm obliged to react to it. I think this still doesn't solve the problem of what he wants to do with my knight on e5 for him, so let him continue thinking on that. He could maybe go knight a5 and then d6, and then maybe we take on c4 if we're forced to. But not until then. Until then we are very occupied by self-improvement. I might want to play e4 actually, just to kind of gain some more space for my pieces. I sort of like my position, but it lacks direction. And part of it is because there's still these guys in the corner. So if we get to take on e4 and then play queen f3, we have slightly more space. Bishop h6, I've been kind of keeping an eye on that. It's a clever move in this particular circumstance. Sort of forcing me to go e3. I'm not that unhappy about it, but there is now a threat of takes on queen b6, which we do have to address. Yeah, this is a lot more awkward than I originally suspected. I might have to give up on some of those dreams. I thought I can play knight d5, but he just goes queen d6 and I don't have any follow-up. I wasn't that worried because specifically I thought knight d5 was solving all of my issues there. But it's not. I think maybe we can lay a trap. I think maybe we can lay a trap here. If this backfires, as of course it might, this will be a very short game and it will not go well for me, but I found a nice little tactic there in the end, which I'm pinning my hopes on. If he takes, I take, he goes queen b6, and I have knight takes a4, rook b3, and this battery actually works. So he goes queen d6. Is there a threat? Knight takes a3 is not a threat. I think we can continue making improving moves and continue asking him exactly what he means. I'm really not scared about knight a3. I'm kind of running out of moves though, which is a bit annoying. Okay, this simplifies my task a little bit because it's nothing special, but at least yeah, I mean, as long as I still don't get mated on the other flank, which could still be a thing. Completely missed queen takes f4. This is regrettable. I was much more concentrated on getting mated on the other flank, so just missing simple things here. I do have some compensation because this rook will be slightly stupid. Huh. Very cleverly done. I'm lucky I have this move. Actually, not that lucky. It's not very clear how this knight ever escapes. We're probably slightly worse here, but not horribly so. I would not have... Well, okay, hang on. Yeah, that was a strange game. Never really got going in it. I thought I had something out of the opening, and then I must have been worse at some point, so... Oh, Andrew. Andrew probably destroys me. Okay. Yeah, I can't really play the reti here because if d4 e3 is very annoying. I underestimated just how much I will dislike this. That's nicely done by him. Yeah, I don't actually have a good way to reply to this at all. It's very, very annoying. Yeah, this is what happens when you try not playing symmetrically against good players. You just get instantly punished. Yeah, it's like it's already a genuinely poor position. Like he takes, goes queen a4, queen a6 check. I never get to castle, and therefore, like I'm in a lot of trouble here. Whoa, 93! I missed 93. I thought I will get to play queen d7 next move, and now even that is a pipe dream. I need to play this and hope, but yeah, this is just a very, very bad position. Ever since I first started playing this game, when in particular when I'm trying to, to push something, when I'm trying to force matters, I kind of forbid myself to play symmetrically in the opening, justifying it by, quote unquote fun, quote unquote disbalance in the position. And you end up with positions like this where, I mean, there's definitely disbalance in this position, like don't get me wrong. This position is incredibly disbalanced. It's just that it is absolutely rotten for me. And you really should not be doing this to yourself. Knight b4 is probably a very strong threat I should not be allowing. Otherwise, I would very much like to get these moves in, but I don't think I can afford to. even like every single endgame is also very poor for me. Like if he goes d3, queen e3, check, queen d2, or this, like these endgames are very, very bad. I'm surprised by d4 though. I don't know why he allowed my knight to come back, because now I can play f5 and this gives me hope. Maybe he wants to mate me, maybe he just wants to go c5 and give mate, but that's actually kind of double-edged. This is by far the best position I've had this game. Starting from, I don't know, move 5 or something. We haven't done this well in quite some time in this game. We're still in trouble, but at least we're alive. Okay. That was unexpected. I guess I'm not the only one who gets tired after 2.5 hours of this. If somebody, you know, as strong as Andrew commits a mistake like this, it must mean that I'm not the only one who is having clear cognitive issues here. f5 is very, very logical there. I'm surprised he didn't just play it. Felt, you know, extremely normal for black to push for f5 in a position like that. Bishop e6 is actually kind of actively counterproductive for him, because it's a square for the. I don't know why I played rook f2. I should have played rook f3. It's a square for the knight. He wants to go knight e6 now, which is very sensible. I should have played this on a previous move. This is becoming a little bit too random for my liking. This was extremely strong on the previous move already. Huh. Yeah, that is clever. That is quite clever. I only calculated this with the inclusion of bishop d6, queen d6, and I had a good answer to that, but not to this. But I do have bishop takes b8, which kind of solves my problems here. Kind of lucked out here a little bit. I could have, like, it's arguable whether I won this position with the queen's on or the queen's off. Probably the queen's off, actually. Probably queen takes b8 was just much stronger, but with the queen's on, it's... Whoa, no, 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 no. No, that is wrong. Also improving my structure is just wrong. Why am I allowing f5 is unclear, though. Hopefully it doesn't spoil the position that much, but yeah, this kind of happens every single time. My opponents do something like what my opponent did just then, and I sort of... the game sort of ends in my head. I no longer really pay any attention to it. And the game actually is still, you know, sort of very much continuing. It hasn't finished by any stretch. And I shouldn't be treating it as if it's finished. But it just finishes in my head completely. I stop caring. This is clever. This is clever. This will actually create problems for me. I underestimated this. But yeah, like it's a mental issue I've had for a while, from all the Bunter blitzes I've done and so on. I the old saying that I treat every opponent like a grandmaster until he proves otherwise. And when somebody does something like queen takes g3 against me, I take it as a conclusive proof, and I really, really tune out. Just kind of conclusively tune out the game, and I think this now is just winning for me, because rook d3, king e2, there's no way to protect this bishop. This actually wins, yeah, okay. Oh, blitz machine, this is not how chess works, or maybe it is, yeah, exactly, yeah, like it's an extremely annoying thing which I am, fighting to overcome, and really, really not succeeding, in particular when I'm tired and not entirely happy with how I'm playing. Almost RDU, but not quite. E4. So if I attack it, what does he do? I'm really unsure about this, but sometimes these things work out. I'm still stuck with this idiot, but also, like, it's kind of the same for him. And I think my idiot is sort of coming out faster now that my rook is on a prowl, so to speak. And we kind of wanted to go there. I lost a very funny game to Linier once in one of the St. Louis tournaments, where my rook actually got completely stuck on a very similar square. But here I don't think it does. Okay, and now we just need to make sure the rook doesn't actually get lost. And he has a king on d1, which I think we probably... Hang on, I want to make sure the bishop also doesn't get trapped, like before might be a threat. Let's go all the way back. Yeah, probably I have no real reason to be happy about this whole operation. Because Because the rook is still being kind of chased. I am kind of getting flashbacks to that game against Linier, where I ended up very much regretting my opening concept. A5, it feels like it's some kind of an extracurricular activity. We don't need that. Let's continue developing pieces. But I probably want to play knight f5. It probably helps my rook survive. Or maybe knight h5. Very strange position, but obviously, you know, structurally I'm not doing poorly. It's mainly that I'm worried the rook might still get somehow trapped by events. Not sure about this, but I just want to make sure. Also, like bishop f6 is a very useful thing for me. Creating fighting for the dark squares and so on. What is that rook doing there? That rook is on a journey of a lifetime. Bishop b5 is quite clever. That rook is on a journey of discovery, from which it might never come back, actually, now that I think about it. I need to start playing faster. This is kind of annoying as well. I'm kind of balancing on the precipice. All of this could collapse at any point, but I do have sort of the overall reasonableness. I can't speak. The structure is not that bad, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, let's not be an idiot. Let's not try to speak in words of more than 2 syllables. Why did I allow f4? What am I doing? I could have played rook e5. Oh. Now I'm back to being in a lot of trouble somehow. This is such a stupid game. This is quite a remarkably stupid game somehow. Probably the most hilarious game we've played in this tournament so far. Okay. Whoa, queen of 3 check. Okay. I deserve that. I deserve that. Well played by... I actually want to know who that is. I'll check later. That expedition did not end in success. I thought there probably was a point in this game when I was doing okay, and then it disappeared. Ah, okay. I know Rustam. Yeah, Rustam is a good player. Yeah, that rook kind of it was asking for it for a very, very long time. So this is sort of the second time these games end in kind of exactly the same, not exactly the same fashion. That game against Linier, I actually sacrificed it for something and was for a time, kind of happy with the outcomes, and then I lost. That rook's quality of life decreased tremendously. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. At least it doesn't have to share the office space with all the other idiots anymore. How am I supposed to develop this? I think we start by playing e6. This knight on d8 feels a little bit sad. Maybe I should have played bishop b7 to have the knight c6 option later. That knight on d8 does look kind of suboptimal. Yeah, and that worries me because that might indicate that I'm getting mated in the center a lot faster than I originally thought. And that needs addressing. And maybe already there's no good way to address that. Yeah, missing really simple stuff. I'm back to playing like a 5-year-old-ish. Although if I get to play f7, f6 in the next couple of moves, my position will resemble something again. What it will resemble is probably a flaming pile of crap, but it will bear as, you know, a striking resemblance to, you know, a legitimate flaming pile of crap. Bishop e5 is very strong. f3 probably just wins the game on the spot, as I now realize, because I can't really defend this pawn. Yeah. Chalk it up to yet another horrible opening experiment that goes completely wrong. We are like 3 moves away from actually being able to castle. So I think we kind of never castle in this game. I am a little bit surprised by knight c3. It feels like it gives me, you know, at least a distant hope of castling one day. Very distant. Like e5 probably just wins. To all intents and purposes. Yeah. But the thing is, like, playing a much more restrained game in the opening has been proven to give me a lot better results. But after the day I've had, I just can't force myself to do it. There's just no way I can convince myself to play normally. And of course against good players, and like there's really no reason for us not to think these are good players. Yeah, it gets severely punished, and no surprise. The problem is I'm not even threatening to castle because I currently have no reply to rook d7. So I might have to burn a tempo on knight c6 next move. And then, like, next move, maybe finally I will get to castle. And I'm still much worse, but like much worse. But this is once again one of those cases where this is clearly the best position we've had all game. Which is really not saying very much in this particular case. This is a very ugly move, but at least maybe I get to play knight d4. I thought this wasn't that great for him, because knight d4. I think I'm getting sort of, as is often the case in these things, I get a lot of extra credit from people who, I think if there wasn't a GM in front of my name, that player would have just destroyed me. Huh, more competing with Andrew. We actually won the first one somehow, yeah? Completely undeservedly. Like, that was a travesty. I think this probably gets developed here. Queen f6. What is queen f6? Huh. Okay. So he wants bishop c5, knight g6, knight f4, and so on, and he is claiming it's more important than developing the light pieces for now. And I have a feeling he might be correct. Can we maybe play this? And then this? And then I was hoping to do something like this. And pretend I'm also an attacking player at heart. If he takes, I go b4, and then I go c takes d4, and this guy suddenly is very much part of the game. Very cute. If he takes, takes, and takes, b4 actually captures that queen, which is a tactic you don't really see very often. Yeah, I think he's doing the right thing in completely ignoring all of that and trying to develop, but it's a surprisingly pleasant position I have here. I think we probably just play d5 and, you know, tell him you have this idiot. Enjoy. That's an like in a slightly different setting. I would very much like to take you up on that statement, Kasparov, because I mean, they've obviously taken some creative liberties with the series, but like I didn't think they, you know, I didn't think it had invalidated anything they were trying to say at all. Kind of important not to get mated here, so maybe I will spend a tempo on knight f3 just to make him play knight g6. Huh. So he is completely abandoning the dream of giving mate, which is maybe sensible. Position still remains kind of unplayable for him because of where the pieces are. I also could have taken on e5 previous move. So we are 2 for 2 against the penguin, which is kind of weird. Okay, this guy is hardcore. Hardcore. Clever. Bishop takes d4 actually wins, because I was planning to do this, and then after rook d2, my queen actually has no moves. So I'm having to revise my intentions on the spot here. Oof. Maybe not going to be such a disaster somehow if I survive the next couple of moves, which is not a given, of course. Yeah, I need to... I mean, it's an extremely ugly move to be making, but I need to connect my rooks. What the hell am I doing? Knight of 3 is very strong here. Yeah, getting completely destroyed here. Just completely outplayed. What? Yeah. I have my questions about this game, honestly. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have my questions about this game. The FFL himself. I don't think the Alekhine works in these types of positions, honestly. I would be very surprised if the Alekhine was actually great. So we got for a change, I have a very pleasant position out of the opening here. Probably the best I've had in the entire tournament. Everything developed naturally. We can castle kingside, we can castle queenside. You know, plenty of very pleasant choices. Where do the knights go? Kind of want to gain some more space on the queen side before we commit to any specific development. I quite like what he's done to his position. He's actually gotten himself a very sensible setup. I think I wasted a little bit too much time though. there must have been a way to play sort of more aggressively straight out of the opening. I think this guy belongs somewhere here to kind of make it harder for him to create counterplay. I am probably playing a5 myself if he does, like I don't, or maybe b5, maybe b5 is what I should be aiming for, but b5 we have to be sure we don't allow c5 in a good version for him. Yeah, d5 always exists in these types of positions, but I thought knight c5 would have been awkward, or will be awkward for him to reply to. He probably goes b6, I guess. But then we can take and play e5. He probably goes bishop g6. I have not done this in any kind of a... Like I don't think I've done this particularly well. I'm still a little bit better, but I should have been a lot more better. bc, rook b7 might be awkward for him though. And this probably has been missed, which, you know, instantly makes my position close to completely winning. Probably even sort of materially winning. Yeah, now like rook f7 is very attractive, but we really don't need to. Like rook fb1 is... Rook f7 is kind of... But it's a little bit showy, right? It's... I mean, it's good. Let's play it. But probably completely unnecessary, honestly. Want to make sure that I create a safe haven for my king before leaving the first. I think it's kind of good business practice to make sure he has no real counterplay here. And now we should be going in for the kill somehow. I'm guessing e6 is strong. No, I blundered this, of course. Yeah, this is horrible. Queen a2 check now. Yeah, that's why you should just play rook fb1 and never ever engage with those things. I don't know why he preferred this to the other option, honestly. It feels mysterious to me. Rook e2. Rook e2 is still kind of awkward for me, actually. But I guess after rook c7 I should still be winning. G5 check, though. I'm really making it very possible not to... Hang on a second, is this a move? I guess it is. And then just like push a 4, f5, and then consider again. Because that really doesn't go anywhere. This probably is just a draw now. I'm kind of disgusted with myself. Yeah, there's like no excuse for not beating a good player from that position. Like none whatsoever. Knight f6 is just fine. Like I'm not actually generating any threats. Mainly I'm just being extremely annoyed by my inability to convert this into a full point. I don't like rook d5 check though. I think that maybe was a mistake. Then again, maybe not, yeah. Yeah, not winning this game is really unpleasant, honestly. Kind of tired, but still no excuse. And that's the end of the tournament. And at some point it looked like I might be finishing somewhat respectably, but then I started losing my mind again, and Ralph won it. Ralph is a very strong player. Ralph is... I'm happy for Ralph. Ralph won, somebody from Armenia, I don't know exactly who is in second, and Grandmaster Esquire, who is... Vladislav Kovalev, yeah. So we played him twice and lost one and drew one, so that's kind of as expected. So yeah, kind of a tournament of 3 halves, if you can call it that. Like extremely shaky beginning, and then there was like an hour when I was playing like a human being, and then the last hour I went back to being an idiot again. Not as horrible as I thought somewhere like the first 40 minutes in, when I really thought this is kind of shameful and I shouldn't really be streaming if I'm planning to play so horribly, but still not ideal. Hope you've at least enjoyed parts of it. And thanks for Lichess Chess for providing me with the platform to play a game I genuinely love. I just couldn't really show my whatever skills I have at it properly today. Yeah, I don't know what future cooperation might be, but I enjoyed it, and I like the platform. So maybe there will be something else in the future, provided Lichess is not too disappointed with how this went. And yeah, that concludes the evening's entertainment. I will be streaming my usual blend of my own nonsense plus some children's card games, plus maybe the final day of the clutch, maybe tomorrow, who knows, but probably not. But yeah, Hope to see maybe some of you there one day. But for now, thanks for watching, and probably for most of you, good night. All we really want is you solving captures again. This probably doesn't happen for a while yet, Naughty. Although I do appreciate the sentiment, I would very much like to find something as silly as that and stream it for like half an hour again, but I haven't stumbled upon anything that was as delightfully pointless as that was.